Welcome to another Albion Online Dev Talk. Today I'm thrilled to introduce our next update, Paths to Glory, coming in July 2024. The update derives its name from its key feature, the Albion Journal. The journal challenges players to take on increasingly difficult tasks in different areas of Albion's gameplay and receive unique rewards to show off their success. There's quite a bit of content to go through for the journal, and we have plenty of other topics to talk about today, so the details will be covered at length in our next Dev Talk. What else do we have in this video then? Well, with Paths to Glory, we try to focus on including specific community requests you made in comments to our recent Dev Talks. And while we're still working on many of them, there's a number of community-inspired features that already made it into this update. First up, we're allowing guilds to own multiple islands, one per royal city. We've taken the opportunity to introduce city-specific looks for each guild island, so now you'll have a snowy island for your guild in Fort Sterling, or a lush forest if you're based in Limehurst. Another frequently requested feature included is the ability to overcharge twice, in order to prolong the overcharge duration at a higher risk of breaking the item after the total period. This should help the ZVZ community in prolonged fights, while leaving the rest of the game mostly unaffected. A nice little change is the ability to use all spells on Tier 4 weapons, taking an unnecessary complexity out of the character build system and opening up more gameplay variety with lower tier weapons. Also at a community request, we're introducing a party ready check function. This helps party leaders to see when their group is ready to set out into the world of Albion or tackle the next boss in the dungeon. Other improvements include the introduction of corrupted dungeon maps, 3 new activity events for roads, mists, and tracking, and better filtering options in the rankings. We've also significantly improved the usability of the Destiny board by rescaling it and allowing you to further zoom in and out on the desktop version. Our most requested topic, and the one we spent the most of our thought and energy on, was improving the roads of Avalon. This posed quite a challenge, however. We didn't have a whole lot of specific feedback to go on, and what we had was in vastly different directions, so we took some time to analyze the data and think about the topic. Our data showed that the activity, both PvE and PvP in the roads, was higher than it has been for a very long time, but at the same time many of you complained that you weren't finding the content you were looking for. This was a challenge for us because it told us many of you are looking for a completely different experience in the roads than what they were designed to be. An extension of the open world, creating connections between places and offering opportunities for small groups, but not as an action-packed instant content like the Mists. Finally, we came to the conclusion that we're going to continue to see the roads of Avalon as what we intended them to be. We still see the need for an accessible action-packed small group-oriented feature, but we don't think the roads are the right place to offer it. Therefore, we've decided to improve what we have for the players who are already enjoying it. And here's what we're changing. We're standardizing the tiers of all mobs in specific road sections to make it easier to know whether you're in the right place to find the content you're looking for. Next, we made sure that Tier 4 roads are primarily found when entering from the blue and yellow zones, while entering from red and black zones typically gets you into a Tier 6 road directly. Tier 8 roads are now exclusive to deep roads and raid clusters. Talking about raid clusters, we've increased the quantity of these specific clusters to make sure hideouts in the roads connect to these more frequently, but we've also sprinkled in a few connections to these from non-hideout clusters to increase competition in them. Next, we took a look at the reward balancing and content distribution. We've reduced the amount of spots dedicated to gathering, but we've increased the respawn rate of resources accordingly, so the total output remains the same. We've used the space gained to add additional PvE spots, which we've also rebalanced, slightly bringing down their fame rewards, but increasing their loot rewards to ensure the roads are not quite as powerful for leveling as they were, whilst hopefully making them more competitive with other forms of loot generation. One more piece of feedback we want to react to is the lack of content in the roads. To address this, we've brought tracking into the roads, and while we were at it, We also introduced one more rare tracking mob you can hunt down for loot. Additionally, we're introducing a key new feature to the world of Albion: activity-based spawn rates. What this means is that we will make a profile of each server by measuring the activity at each point in time. We will then adjust spawn rates for resources, mobs, and treasures, as well as their upgrades based on this activity profile. This means that during the server's prime time, you should have an easier time finding content than you had before, whilst players hoping to exploit the low activity times for massive rewards will find them more scarcely. We're making sure not to go all out with this adjustment, so off times we'll still see a little more content per player, but the amount of content will certainly be better matched to the player activity. All in all, these changes are an iteration on the concept of the roads, not a revolution. We'll observe how they affect the way the content is played, and we'll continue to think about a new way to offer more reliable, small-scale PvP content, which we believe many players were asking for when requesting improvements to the roads. Finally, of course, this update also introduces the next batch of crystal weapons. The all-new Twin Slayers, a pair of crystal daggers which can create a ring of spinning blades that can be recalled back to the caster, cutting through all enemies in their path. The Dreadstorm Monarch, the new crystal mace which can use its Eye of the Storm ability to create a growing storm around you, slowing enemies and shredding their resistances. And finally, the Exalted Staff, the new Crystal Holy Staff. Its unique ability can remove enemy ground areas, like Sacred Ground. These 3 weapons will be available in the upcoming season's Conqueror's chests. And remember, as we're introducing these weapons over time, the total amount of artifact items dropped in each season's chest goes up, while each specific artifact becomes more rare. That means these chests are becoming more valuable with each season, until we've finished with the last set of crystal weapons. As you can see, the update is quite packed with features and adjustments, and we haven't even mentioned the visual reworks of scythes and quarterstaff base animations, and the many balance adjustments coming with the update. We also haven't gotten to the heart of the update, the journal and the unique rewards you can earn by completing it. So don't miss our upcoming Dev Talk, where we cover these in depth, and of course, we're hoping you'll join us for the release of Paths to Glory in July.